And welcome to space weather, that is. Thanks everybody who's viewing the premieres. We appreciate that live feature. It's much more enjoyable than just uploading the videos. Anyway, we're looking at the sun on 171 angstroms here. We see 0 sunspots. Small active region there near the equator is a cycle 24 plage. Let's zoom in at the north. This is 11 hours on today. It'll never be now again. November 30th, 2019. The first 11 hours of activity there. Here's the south, complete with time and date stamps. And let's look at the 304 angstroms view. There's the north. Some small filaments around the edges of the disk, as well as there's actually one right here near the north. You can see that on 171 angstroms also. See a little filament jumping around there. I'm not sure if that collapsed again. Pretty hard to see. It looks like it might have collapsed. And a larger filament down here in the southwest. That's a pretty tall one. A few Earths in diameter, it looks like. Let's do the super zoom. There you go. Complete with date stamps. Before we continue on, I'm going to start drinking by making a mixed drink and including the recipe. Don't worry, folks, it's non-alcoholic. You take something like this here, grape soda, just your basic cheapo grape soda, and then mix it with half seltzer water. Oh yeah, for a refreshing beverage, not as disgustingly sweet as a regular soda. Now in Germany, they have a beverage at most fast food places called Apfelsprusse, which means bubbly apple juice. It's literally just a mixture of half apple juice and half seltzer water, or club soda, or whatever you want to call it. If you want to go high-end with it, go for the Pellegrino. And I just wanted to note the Solon.info solar terrestrial activity report. You see we've been above 70 here, currently at 70 solar flux units. Let's first talk about robotized paper once again. Today's the final day. We're not going to feature anything about it except to say, read the paper. The implications on cosmology are, shall we say, vast. And stay tuned for a lot of content today, folks. We're going to be talking about mysterious radio signals and positive feedback black holes and ultraluminous X-ray sources and human stupidity, as we are massive entropy busters on this channel. So be an entropy buster and read this paper and endeavor to understand the real science behind the mechanisms that govern the sun's behavior. Anyway, 40 lines of evidence for condensed matter. Read it. We've linked it below. Just wanted to head to HelioViewer real quick and look at this field area. Geez, we're having zoom problems, folks. All right, there you go. There's that field. We're going to show you the fade to 171 angstroms, just to give you a nice little visual analysis there. HelioViewer.org, a great resource. You can make movies. I think Suspicious Observers uses this one. And moving on to the more data. The X-ray flux, totally flatlined. We're at a background level of about a 6.7 or so on the X-ray flux. So nothing resembling a B-class X-ray flare here for quite a while, since December 1st. Real-time solar wind. Phi angle is looking 256 degrees there. Solar wind density 3.91 protons per cubic centimeter, and a small uptick here in the solar wind speed. Did I say density? Solar wind density 3.91 protons, solar wind speed 350 kilometers per second. A small uptick where it reached its trough here was, well, it's not showing me the indicator. Anyway, the trough looks like it was down around 325. Solar minimum conditions in effect, folks. There's the ACE data. And let's look at the geospace magnetosphere movies. We'll just look at the pressure today, as there's not a lot going on. So here's 4 hours of data courtesy University of Michigan Geospace model, complete with date stamps and timestamps. Pressure is looking pretty uniform here over the last 4 hours. Now we do see some fairly interesting magnetic field drift happening here. We see major drift of the South Pole into the southern Indian Ocean. And we actually see, it looks like drift of the North Canadian Pole also. Look at how far it's reaching down into Canada. And that's not always the case there, folks. This model is created using the space modeling framework, and if you want to read all about that, it's down at the bottom of this page, and we've linked it below the video, of course. Don't take our word for it. Go look at it yourself. We put 4 hours of data of this every day in our video, as it is non-archive retrievable. They have the archive, I'm sure. It's not yet accessible. We're hoping that'll change eventually so we can look at the magnetic effects of major coronal mass ejection impacts. For instance, 10.7 centimeter radial flux, back down to 70, right on the orange line we've drawn in. Magnetometer looking fairly smooth here with one little hiccup just before midnight. And here's the data from the Gong 2 looking solidly in the South Pole oriented portion of the current sheet, shown in red. Nothing too exciting happening there. This data 1 hour and 4 minutes old. KP index down to 1. It reached a high of just 3 last night, at the same time as that magnetic anomaly happened. We're going to skip cosmic rays today, although if you'd like to go monitor them yourself, we've left links to that also. And if you see any anomalies, drop me a line. smAsho@gmail.com. Goes electron flux. We see a dipping electron flux there, possibly associated with that ramp up in the solar wind. As solar protons, the solar wind is primarily made of protons, folks. And those protons, those hydrogen nuclei with no electron, they really want an electron. Let's just leave it at that. Relativistic electrons have dropped back down to moderate levels, and thanks for updating it, solon.info. Here's the ionosphere movie, looking at 6 hours here in 15-minute per second intervals, and we see continued anomalies over the South Atlantic anomaly, as well as in the South Pacific. Significant nighttime charge-up oddities in the ionosphere above the area south-southeast of Hawaii, as well as all the way down by the South Pole there. So, some oddities, and we've been seeing this for the last about 10 days. And let's bring up the latest image to show you where it is when we made the video, which is, by the way, at 6:34 a.m. Pardon the lateness, folks, but there's a lot of stuff to cover, so we had to prepare everything so it didn't take us all day to make the video. And we're going over earthquakes only of 6+ magnitude or great depth, or perhaps if one happens in my backyard, I'm going to talk about that. But anyway, let's see what we got here. Just going to scroll up the list. I did see one off of Oregon. No 6+ magnitude quakes in the past 24. Here's a deep quake in Japan, that one of 4.6 magnitude at 121 kilometers depth. And thanks for all you earthquake watchers for filling me in when a large earthquake hits. It is a huge advantage. Here's a deep one at Indonesia. That one's at 151 kilometers depth and a 4.3 magnitude. Here's a very deep quake at south of the Fiji Islands there. 515 kilometers at a 4.5 magnitude. That would be nearly a 7. Approximately a 7 or so if that happened at the surface. Not the best news for Fiji. And here's a deep quake at 105 kilometers at Dominican Republic. That one's only a 2.9 magnitude. There's that 4.5 off of the coast of Oregon. Let's take a quick look at that. And that was actually right on Port Oxford there, not off the coast at all. That was on land. Please leave a comment if you felt that quake. That's a significant one, although it does not appear to be a populated region. Back to the list. It looks like the largest in the past 24 was this 5.6 at Guatemala. moving on to the pressure maps, courtesy windy.com. By the way, check out their mobile app if you don't have it yet. It's free, and it's got a ton of data. And let's just move this down here, as nobody lives in Antarctica. Nobody cares. They assume the weather's going to be hell. Check out that powerful low off the coast of the U.S. as well as over the west central U.S. Another powerful low off the coast. Let's let that advance about 24 hours from when we made the video. Pardon the fast talking. We don't want the video to be too long. But there is still quite a bit of stuff to cover on the wire as we do a tightrope act. Anyway, there's where things will be in about 24 hours. And the snow's coming, folks. If you're on the East Coast, we're not going to get into snow forecast today because, again, too much material. Next, we'll look at volcanoes real quick. The list containing Mount Aso producing a 7,000-foot ash plume. Don't pole vault it. Sakurajima, flight level 6,000 there as it explodes. Sanjiang-api exploding also, 8,000-foot plume there. Dakono, flight level 7,000 as it explodes. Popocatépetl also exploding. 21,000-foot ash plume there. Sangay, new eruption detected in satellite. New eruption at Revenador. Sabancaya, flight level 24,000. And Nevados de Chilean, flight level 12,000. Please do not fly over Nevados de Chilean in your home-built helicopter kit vehicle. It could be unhealthful. Here's where stuff is in the solar system. There's where it'll be in 7 days. Approaching another full moon. Let's talk about Comet Borisov. Now this image is all over the internet because people are like, oh my gosh, the comet's bigger than the Earth. It's actually 1.6 kilometers in diameter in terms of its rocky core. Or is it a dusty ball of ice, a dusty ball of gas and ice, folks, or is it made of rocks? I'm not going to go up there and drill it myself. This is expected to about get as close as approximately Mars's orbit. So if you're preparing for Night of the Comet, it's probably not going to be a thing. And just bear with me, I'm making myself another beverage. And it's the same one, folks. It's non-alcoholic. Don't lose don't get your panties bunched, and don't try not to freak out. We left links to that article, by the way, in the description below the video. Here's where stuff is above my head, as I'm always interested in things like Deneb rising, which apparently has just occurred. Returning to a state of sending cosmic ray flux into the sky right above your head, causing clouds to nucleate at an insane speed. Let's talk about other things that are above our head. Air superiority. Why do you pay taxes? Well, it's mainly so that nobody drops a bomb on you, because air superiority is the most important reason that you pay taxes. Now, there's a lot of governments doing a lot of things we don't like coming over and measuring weeds and grass and suggesting that we cut down giant hedgerows and do thousands of dollars worth of modifications to a property that is completely trouble-free. Apparently, people in New Jersey don't like big government overreach either, as they are fleeing the state. 44% of residents plan to flee. I even have family there, and they don't seem to like it particularly much either. And this is what socialism does, folks. It causes assets to flee. You raise taxes high enough, and guess what? You end up with less revenue. Less revenue. Have you ever heard of the Laffer curve? Look it up. Talk about Altair, today's featured star. Now, we talked about a whole bunch of little stars that aren't visible with the naked eye and so on. This is the 12th brightest star in the sky, located at an estimated distance of 16.7 light years. It's part of the Summer Triangle, yada, yada, yada. It's in the G cloud. And we've been doing this daily here as we get through the list of nearest stars and brown dwarfs. We're not really checking them off. We're just kind of doing it piecemeal. And anyway, here's the diagram of the local chimney. And you can see the G cloud right there. Also the sun's direction and so on. And there's a high-res image of Altair with a lovely hexagon for all you numerological freaks who are going to go insane over the fact that it's got 6 beams of light coming out of it. you're going to think it's Satan's star or something, please leave a comment if you're freaking out about it. And here's where it is located in the local cluster, the local stellar group, I'll say. And also, let's look at some stuff a little farther away here. How about that? Zooniverse.org's Galaxy Zoo project. We need people to classify galaxies. Computers are not capable of doing this, so we need humans. So check out the largest citizen science project in the world, Zooniverse.org. Go to the Galaxy Zoo project. You might even get published in a scientific paper. Who knows? Set up a profile. Tell them your name. Tell them your shoe size. Tell them your mother's maiden name. Tell them what you think your IQ score is, having never taken a real IQ test. Check out lightningmaps.org. We see a bunch of lightning hitting the U.S., and let's see what's up. Next time you hear thunder, perhaps check out lightningmaps.org. Got quite a cell here. Heads up to Denison, Texas, as well as Durant. There's thunder rolling in, dudes. Big time. Check it out. Durant, it's going to go boom. We're going to go boom in a minute, too. But I will not explode or have a stroke. Anyway, there's a U.S. Doppler radar. We see some insanely heavy bands of snow there going north across southern Minnesota as well as South Dakota. Let's do a zoom. Very strong bands of snow hitting in those areas as this thing just swirls around and moves north. Majorly powerful rotating low there, and it looks like it's right above Linux. I don't know what Linux is. LNX, that's about where the low is. I would also note a little bit of snow showing up in the radar map in Pennsylvania. Heads up, Pennsylvanians. It's starting already, folks. And there's going to be a demarcation line where it's snow rain, and it all depends on the temperature. Anyway, let's look at some more data. First, this insane convergence over South Dakota, and man, oh man, that dry air is just bludgeoning, creating insane pressure gradients and bombing out that storm. That's the thing that bomb cyclones are made of, folks. And you're going from, 32 millibars of pressure to 28 millibars of pressure. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. Let's see what's going on above my head. Again, if you are in the Northeast, it's coming. And the moisture is almost here. It's going to suddenly start to snow. Also, look at this dry air zone up here. Major convergence zone there as well. All of this moisture is just going to bounce right off of this, and it's going to hold this in place, as that is a dip in the jet stream there. It's going to inject further cold air into especially places like Maine. And let's just move on and stop talking about the weather. Actually, here's the full U.S. view. I would note the crazy convergence lines also over southern Colorado, northern New Mexico, the Texas stovepipe, the Oklahoma Panhandle, Kansas, Nebraska. Some extreme pressure gradients in those areas too. There should be some interesting cloud formations, to say the least. And let's go to Nullskull. Look at the jet streams and keep stuff moving, because man, oh man, there is still plenty of stuff to cover. There's that dip in the jet stream that was evident in the water vapor map. Fortunately, this isn't dipping down too far now, as it's not quite so cold, but still a bit of cold air coming down there, especially into the northern western portions, as well as an extreme meridional jet stream flow here. Note this 180-degree bend. Here's the eastern world. And it looks like they're getting some frigid air dipping down from the North Pole into Asia once again, as well as some funky flows around the South Pole, but we're not going to get into it. We're just going to say, hey, if you enjoy the content, please support us via Patreon, patreon.com/smAshomash. We share some exclusive stuff there, obviously, for our paid members. And thanks for being associate producers of the Daily Space Weather and other content on YouTube. Look for these videos to be changing all the time, as there is no stagnation here. It took months for us to come up with the order for these tabs and so on, and which data sources to put where and all that sort of stuff. Thanks, Smash Team. for tuning in. Stay tuned for a ton of bonus features. Also, please press like and subscribe on YouTube. Now, we've changed the YouTube channel a little bit now. We have our latest video, before this one at least. Need more space? And we've put some related content channels. Test Mythos, The Electric View, Sky Scholar, Thunderbolts Project, Adapt 2030, and Tony Heller. So anybody from any of those channels, give us a ring. We'll be more than happy to get you on the show. And I'm Smashman from the Smashenheimer Ranch Project, and that's a boom. A grand solar gift boom. Perhaps you want to check out Tessa's webpage here, Mythos Decoded. It's a lovely page. It's got plasma images and Mythos images, as well as ebooks, which is what you'll find on her YouTube page. Also, watch our video, Need More Space, where we do a short interview with her. Would you like a t-shirt that has 3C405 on the shirt? Now, this is Cygnus A, the second strongest radio source in the sky, second only to the sun. And I don't know, maybe you don't like the design. Maybe you do like the design. Maybe we're planning on changing this design all around just for you because you don't like it or you do like it. In any case, this won't be my first foray into making clothing, as here's one of the shirts made for the record label. This is a Golden Cap Productions shirt. And I am the COO of a clothing company called Effin as well. And now, I'm not limited in the kind of designs I can do. I can do any kind of design. But we have certain styles that we use on purpose. And it's all done for a reason, folks. The reason these letters are illuminated the way they are, there's a reason for it. And there's a reason why we only included the radio image of Cygnus A. It's to get people going, what is that? What's 3C405? Anyway, the galaxy needs a name. And look for changes coming soon at smashomash.org. That means you, SMASho staff. There's going to be a forum. There's going to be all kinds of different stuff at smashomash.org. So we'll let you know. It's under construction. Now let's talk about the Tanuma crater. This is believed to be an impact crater. And let's just show a few images of this thing. It's 1.9 miles in diameter. And does that look like an impactor to you folks? Now it's got this rim feature, which is very odd, where it looks like it dips down, but then there's a hill around it. It's a very strange feature. And here are some of the conglomerates that were found underneath it, looking like slag and all kinds of different oddities and rocks. Now we've left links to that. Here's where it's located, by the way. This is on a certain organization's maps. It's located in the Western Sahara Desert. There's a location of that. And let's just say it doesn't look like an impactor to me. But then again, most impact craters don't look like impactors to me anymore. Here's the wiki article about it. It's estimated to be between 21,000 and 32,000 years old, placing it in the Pleistocene. Yeah, it's an interesting crater to say the least. And here's a large Landsat view of it. I'm not sure how much it's going to zoom in here. But in any case, there it is. And we also linked to this article here. It's talking about chemical compositions of impacts and stuff. So we linked that as well. This page doesn't load entirely, but all the text seems to work. Maybe somebody wants to archive that. I'm not exactly sure, but perhaps check that out. We left links so you don't have to go do a web search yourself. Let's talk about plasma.pics and Shannon Sims with her fantastic page. And going to be reaching out to Shannon momentarily here, as well as to Dr. Robitaille. And it's a very refreshing view of cosmology. Check out this one. Now, we're looking at M87 via the Chandra X-ray telescope. And Listen to this explanation. Key misinterpreted observations. The object is a supermassive black hole. It has a mass of 6.5 billion suns, and it's jets of high-energy particles that are launched by intense gravitational fields. I love what you're doing, Shannon. Ms. Sims. Well done. Well done. Plasma.pix. And welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. Let's talk about SpongeBob now. I was not aware of this until I looked it up. I always thought SpongeBob was a show made by somebody that understands marine biology. And indeed it was. Stephen Hillenburg, who we lost last year on November 26th. Now the reason SpongeBob is so funny is because the whole premise of the show is that a squid, one of the smartest animals in the ocean, I mean, at least probably arguably the smartest invertebrate in the world, estimated to have about the intelligence of a house cat, hangs around and runs into all these zany adventures with a sponge and a starfish. Let's just say not the most intelligent creatures. In other words, this show is making fun of Squidward, who must be the dumbest squid in the whole ocean to have any sort of intellectual issues between SpongeBob and Patrick. Anyway, if you want to read all about Stephen Hillenburg or about Lou Gehrig's disease, we've left links to that stuff too. I lost my stepdad to Lou Gehrig's disease, and we're not exactly sure what causes it. I have a feeling it's going to be nutritional in basis. But in any case, let's don't even go there. Hey, look, another image of Cygnus A. What do you know? Let's talk about more stuff, such as this t-shirt. Would you pay 25 bucks USD for that, plus shipping? Well, it's going to be a thing, and I'm going to get one, and I'm going to show it off, and everybody's going to be like, we need that shirt. And anyway, there's the design, and it's really not up for debate. Most of the folks that we showed it to like it, although. Oh, by the way, there are links to the music that we feature in the videos. Here on the SoundClick page, this is the more modern, more heavily produced stuff, as well as to the SoundCloud page. Now, this one is soundclick.com/GoldenCatProductions. You can download these into your MP3 collection for roughly $1 each. And the track we featured this morning is called Transients. It's on the string section album with 33 tracks. It's track number, I don't know. I thought it was track number 32, but apparently not. SoundCloud, how dare you change my playlists? And another point is, hey, smAsho staff, you got to set up the site. We can't have the shirts before the sites are set up. And welcome to the That Is Your Ass and That Is a Hole in the Ground section, where we go vulgarity free and we talk about this pack animal known as an ass and this insane sinkhole somewhere in Asia. And we encourage our viewers to understand the distinction between their and a hole in the ground. See what we did there? We censored ourselves. Hi, Mom. Don't worry, Mom. You don't have to censor me. I'll censor myself. At least whatever part Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Apple don't do. Now, yesterday we were talking about not getting in brawls, and guess what happened on Thanksgiving evening? In the Lehigh Valley Mall, some idiots got in a brawl. How you like them apples? We left links to the article. Now we got a mysterious radio burst, which is stumping mainstream astronomy. And yeah, it's one of the catchiest names ever. Using the Mirror Trap Observatory, this transient source has been given the catchy name MKT J170456.2-482100. Maybe I do have to redesign the shirt. Just kidding, folks. They suspect it's some sort of exotic system that they have never seen before, involving a radio-flaring giant star orbiting a neutron star, the dense remnant of a supernova, explosion, or black hole. Wah, 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 wah. In any case, if you want to read more about this data, check out the Meerkat Observatory. We left links at the page. And here's the timeline of the transients being measured. And here's an image in radio. You see the mysterious radio source just turning on and off. And welcome to the Neo-Renaissance, as things like cosmology are being rewritten. And for that, we are like, yeah! It's a good day for science, once again. And let's talk about a supermassive radio source in the center of a galaxy, apparently responsible for star creation. Now you can see, here's the jet. You can see this blue. That's X-rays. You can barely see anything, and then all of a sudden we see a cloud forming. And out here we see areas that apparently have cooled down enough to become star forming regions. An indication that the Z fields, where the jets emanate from galaxies, these supermassive radio sources at the centers of galaxies, they're probably spitting out a beam of protons, followed by a beam of electrons, by a beam of protons, beam of electrons. These are probably pulses, where it's just like the solar wind, as these objects probably have coronal holes in both the north and south poles, just like the local yellow dwarf does. And as this material gets ejected out by the magnetic fields, it's too hot to condense into anything. And should I say the word condensed matter again? Yeah, okay, I'll say it. Condensed matter. Like you, stars are made of condensed matter. And we've linked to the SciTech Daily article. SciTech Daily, one of my favorite publications. Here's another ultra-luminous X-ray source, UGC 6456ULS, standing for ultra-luminous X-ray source. Investigated in detail. This phys.org article also linked below the video. And here's some conjecture. I'll read it. It's not vetted, but the study reports a correlation between the optical X-ray fluxes and the optical X-ray fluxes in UGC 6456. It may indicate that the optical emission from the source is produced by reprocessing of the X-rays in outer parts of the optically thick wind. According to the researchers, the detection of broad and variable hydrogen as well as helium emission lines supports the scenario of a strong wind coming from the supercritical accretion disk. Now, of course, we're not going to suggest that this is caused by gravitational accretion, but in any case, read up on the ultra-luminous X-ray source if you like. Again, links to the phys.org article below the video. Below me. It's below me. If you want to monitor transients yourself, well, one of the places to do it is at the Neil Gorell Swift Observatory, Swift/BAT. That stands for Burst Alert Telescope, by the way. Hard X-ray transient monitor. Let's give you a quick tutorial if you want to do this. Just hit Find, Control F, and type in something like, oh, I don't know, SGR space A. And here are the transients from Sagittarius A star, the massive radio source at the center of the galaxy in which you likely live. Please leave a comment if you're viewing the video from a different galaxy, plane of existence, star system, spaceship, etc. Or if you're a time traveler, please leave a comment. Anyway, there are the transients from Sagittarius A star. And since Cygnus just rose when we were making the video, let's look at Cygnus X3, otherwise known as Deneb, the tail of the swan. And there are the transients from Cygnus X3, one of the most widely believed point sources of cosmic rays. It has an extremely predictable periodicity of 4.86 hours, believed to be a massive object like a neutron star orbiting a ultra-massive blue giant. Anyway, again, if you want to look up transients, check out the Neil Gorell Swift Observatory. Perhaps your favorite object is on here. Please don't forget to press like and subscribe, folks, if you enjoy the content, and stay tuned for a bonus, a feature. And it's the last 11 hours of the local yellow dwarf's activity here in 94 angstroms. You can see this filament we were talking about earlier right in this area. It looks like it might have collapsed back into the chromosphere We're not going to look at the synoptic map, but if you want to see if anybody's looking at it, check out the synoptic map. There is a link to it on solarham.net. And here's the southern portion. See that small active region there, that Cycle 24 plage. Nothing too exciting. A small sprite here underneath my pointer. We are out. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Enjoy your... I almost fell over. Enjoy your Saturday. Stare at the sun. Don't drink it if you drink. Stare at the sun anyway. Just don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.